Price. Welcome to the NBA Carousel, a Sideline Sports Network production proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download on Apple and Google Play Store. There's a demo on how to use the app on Sideline Sports YouTube channel. But let's jump right into the show. Our first rep, we have Jordan Long covering the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets this week.
Hey, Megan.
How are you?
Pretty good with the Suns and happy they're on a winning streak. Not exactly excited about the Nuggets as they're not winning right now.
They had a tough week. So let's start with the good, and then we will scoot over to Denver. All right, let's see. Phoenix is now on a 12-game win streak. You guys obviously won all of your games last week. You are 12-3, and you're currently sitting at the 2 seed.
Yeah, this is where we wanted to be at the start of the year. It's just reminding me of last year, and we talked about it last week. No one's talking about how great we're playing. We're playing great ball. 12-game winning streak. What more can you ask? I mean, we're in second in the West. Of course, our goal is to be number one, but hey, we're happy where we are right now.
Right. Let's start with the first game of the week. Last week was against the Timberwolves, and it was actually a pretty close game. It was 99-96. To break down that game a little bit for me, and then also kind of give me your opinions on the Timberwolves. They are an interesting team this season.
Well, we went up in the fourth quarter, up 66-62, actually held on to win. Booker had 29 points, Ayton 12 points, 12 rebounds. Paul 21 points and 8 assists. Mikal Bridges, and Jay Crowder were the only starters not to reach double digits. And if you look at the shooting, we didn't shoot that well, but they didn't either. So the difference really was the fact that we had the rebounding 54 to 52, and then points in the paint 38-30. Minnesota is a very interesting team. They still have Karl Anthony Towns, one of the better young guys in the league. So I think they're still trying to rebuild that program. But once they do, they're going to be fine. It's just a matter of rebuilding in the West, really.
Right. Now, and they have, what's his name that came from the Lakers, Russell. And then they also have Anthony Edwards, who could have he was an excellent runner-up in the Rookie of the Year last year. And he's definitely shining this season as well. Okay, so we'll slide over to your next games. You had a back-to-back with the Mavs. In both of those games, we had no Luka. But in the first game, it was 105-98, and then it was 112-104. And so even without Luka, these were pretty close scoring games. Now you guys did finish out strong in that fourth quarter, and they seemed to kind of back off a little bit that's where they were missing Luka, obviously. But they played you guys pretty well.
Well, they still have one of the better centers in the game in Kristaps Porzingis. So we had a couple of trouble with him, but the first one was kind of tough just because you don't know what you're going to expect from the Dallas Mavericks, especially without Luka Doncic. The second one, you knew what to expect. We were just lucky to win those games. We came out, especially in the second game, we still won by 8. And the first one, we only won by 7. So, like you said, it was close games, but our defense in the end won it for us, and we did our thing, and that's all you need to do. We just have to keep winning, and that's what we did, especially since Dallas is going to be one of those top 6 teams. We just have to keep winning against these teams.
Absolutely. And one thing that I saw shine, and I know we've talked about him in the past couple of previous weeks, but McGee looked really great in both of those games.
He's actually been a great fit for the Suns. I knew once signed him that he was going to be a fit with to back up DeAndre Ayton just because of what he brought to the table, and we're seeing it. And Ayton hasn't been fully healthy this year, and that's where McGee has stepped up into the starting role.
Absolutely. And then you guys finished off your week against your other team, the Denver Nuggets. You guys played on Sunday. No Joker, no MPJ, and you guys just really blew them out, 126-97. So that's an absolute great way to finish out your week from the Phoenix side of things.
Well, yeah, exactly. But actually in that game, which I'm going to touch on with the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon actually got ejected in the third quarter. I don't know if I saw him complaining. I don't know what was really said because we know that in the NBA, you can't really talk to the refs to understand what they're thinking. So I have no idea what was said. I thought he said, "Oh, that was terrible." He must have said something else, but that's what I read on his lips.
Right. Okay. And then so you guys will be playing us tonight, the Spurs at 7:30 Eastern. The Spurs are currently in 13th, so it's probably not going to be an extremely difficult game for you guys. We are going through our woes down there, and I'm actually wearing a DeMar DeRozan shirt just to show support because that's probably the only Spur playing well this week, and he's a former Spur. So.
Well, you still have one of the best coaches in the NBA, in Greg Popovich. So I'm just wondering if this is growing pains and it's early in the season. Hopefully they'll get it together, though, because I do like Greg Popovich.
Absolutely. And, we have a great coaching staff in general. Our assistants do pretty well as well within the league. And it's just, we need a star. We need a big name star. We've got an excellent supporting cast. And even though we haven't been winning, we haven't been losing by a lot either. So I feel like that shows that we've played pretty well. I still believe in DeJounte Murray. And I think if we could just throw somebody in the mix with that, then, it wouldn't take a whole lot. Now, the problem with that is the Spurs in general don't make a lot of midseason moves. So what we saw happen in free agency and the draft in the offseason, that's probably what we're going to finish out the season with. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we do get some type of trade or something before the trade deadline, but I'm not really counting on it. So following up, though, on Wednesday at 7 Eastern, you guys will be playing Cleveland, who is currently 6th in the East right now, but they just lost Sexton. He will be out for the rest of the season. Garland is also injured at the moment, I think. So I don't think this will be a tough game for you guys, but I do expect them to hang with you guys probably the first 3 quarters.
I would agree with that. I mean, Colin Sexton is one of their better players, and you take him out there, scoring and defense right out the window there.
Right, absolutely agree. And then Friday, you guys will be playing the Knicks, who are right at 7th in the East. And then Saturday, you'll finish out your week against Brooklyn, who is still super hot. They're 2nd in the East right now. So the same seed, just different conference. And, even without Kyrie and even with some of the shooting problems that James Harden has had and injuries that he's had, they're still managing to get the wins.
You still have Kevin Durant and Patty Mills there. So it's still a talented team. So they're going to give us fits, especially from their outside shooting. We just got to guard better there.
Absolutely. Any concerns with the New York game? They added Evan Fournier to their roster this past offseason. Their rookies are looking decent, and even some of their rookies from last season, because they actually had 2 rookies that were within their roster. So any concerns with that?
For sure. You still have Derrick Rose there. And like you touched on, they got Evan Fournier, great 3-point shooter. And Kemba Walker is a pretty nice down low shooter. So, yeah, there is concerns. If we don't play our A game, especially since we are playing Brooklyn on back-to-back, you have to look at the Knicks game and say that might be the easiest game in New York, but you can't overlook them because of what they can do offensively.
Absolutely agree. Well, I expect you guys to continue your win streak, at least probably through New York. Brooklyn will be probably your toughest challenge there. And how does this rank with longest win streaks for you guys? You're currently sitting at 12, so if you go ahead and knock out those 3, then you'll be at 15.
I don't know what exactly the longest winning streak is in franchise history, but it's going to rank up there. You don't see this team win 12 to 15 games very often. You might see a 10-game or a 9-game winning streak, but not 12 to 15. There's no way, especially in the NBA. So this would be one of the longer streaks in our franchise's history.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's go ahead and slide over to Denver, who had an extremely tough week. You guys went 0-4. You're still at the 6th seed, still an extremely dangerous team, in my opinion. But as we know, with Denver right now, you live and die by the Joker because MPJ is out and then also Murray is out. So you don't have a whole lot of options when Joker's not on the floor at the moment.
No, we don't, especially since we don't have any size, and that's what teams are taking advantage of. We have Bull, but he played 1 game this week, and it was against Dallas, and for whatever reason, they didn't go back to him, and Jeff Green and JaMychal Green are not big inside. So when we do lose the Joker, we have no size. And I
Right.
don't know what Michael Malone's doing, if he doesn't trust Bol or what's going on. But even so, without the Joker, we have no shooting. There's no outside shooting. And he's really the glue that gets the offense going for whatever reason. And you lose that,
Absolutely.
and we saw what happened this week.
And so is there any timetable on when we will see Joker back?
I heard that he's questionable for Tuesday's game. Otherwise, I'm not sure. That's what I heard. It's a wrist injury, so it just depends on how that sprained wrist heals. Hopefully, we'll have him back. If not, you're going to look at another long stretch here.
Okay. Well, he's generally pretty notoriously healthy. We just don't see him get injured a whole lot. So, and it's early in the season still. Like, you guys are still looking at playoff contention at the moment. You haven't fallen very far. But let's go over the scores real quick over this past week. On Monday, you had a loss to the Mavs, 111-101. Then you guys lost to the Sixers Thursday, 103-89. Joker went for 30 points, 7 assists, and 10 rebounds in that game, and then lost to the Suns like we talked about in a blowout on yesterday. This week, though, you guys will be playing the Trailblazers tomorrow, who are sitting in the 7th seed, so right below you. And then on Friday, you'll be playing the Bucks, who are in 8th in the East right now. So they were 11th, and then they got Chris Middleton back. And so the Bucks are moving on up in the rankings. And then Monday, you guys will be playing Miami, who is pretty hot right now. They're number 4 in the East.
And that's a really tough stretch. Portland, we know what we're going to get from them with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. The Bucks, if we don't have any Joker, that's going to let Giannis Antetokounmpo just stay in the lane and get his shot. So it's a tough stretch for sure.
Absolutely. And so what do you think is going to be your toughest game out of those 3?
I would have to say the Bucks if there's no Joker. If we have Joker, then it's Portland just because of their shooting ability.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, Jordan, we'll let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and good luck on your games this week.
Thank you, Megan. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving with Thanksgiving on Thursday. You can find me here at the NBA Carousel on Mondays, doing either the Denver Nuggets or the Phoenix Suns. You can find me on the NFL Carousel on Thursdays, and you can follow me at Sports Scoop 1, as well as reading my blog Mondays through Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, our next rep, we have Will Vogel covering the Charlotte Hornets. All right. Hey, Will, how are you?
Hey, Megan. Good, how are you?
I'm doing really well. So you guys are doing really well also. You guys are sitting at 10-8, and you're at the 5th seed in the East. How does that feel?
Feels pretty good. I want to be a little bit better than that, but still top 5. I'm fine with it.
Absolutely. Definitely an improvement over last season. Now, last season is not like you guys were bad. We could see the potential there. We saw you guys starting to warm up. And this season, we're starting to see it kind of come to fruition. You had a win against the Wizards, who were the number 1 team in the East on Wednesday. It was 97-87, so a nice cushion win right there. You were really able to slow that team down from scoring pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. It was a huge win for our team. Bridges, Ball, and Plumlee all had double-doubles. It was awesome. Having 3 guys with double-doubles, that's huge.
Oh, yeah, that is big.
Especially a good Wizard beating a good Wizards team.
Right. They are looking really good this year. And then on Friday, you guys pulled out a win against the Pacers. It was a really close game. It was 121-118. Obviously, this is kind of a rival for you guys, having the Pacers being in the same conference as you all. What did you notice about that game?
LaMelo had a great game. He had 32 points and 11 rebounds, and he's rebounding the ball like great right now. It reminds me kind of like a Magic Johnson, how he could get rebounds like a tall point guard. And then Gordon Hayward had 25 points to support him. So, yeah, beating Indiana, which I'm pretty sure we held Sabonis down. But, yeah, that's another big win, especially an Eastern Conference opponent.
Right, absolutely. And then you guys finished out your week playing Atlanta on Saturday, and unfortunately it was a loss. But I mean, considering it's only one, you're only one loss out of the week, that's still pretty good. It was 115 to 105. What were your thoughts on that game?
It's a tough loss, but I knew Atlanta was going to be probably the toughest matchup other than the Wizards. LaMelo had a triple-double. He had an amazing game. He played his heart out. And Bridges had a double-double. But I thought the Wizards of the Hawks game was going to be really tough for us. And, yeah, they've got a lot of different pieces on that team. They got, what's his name? Capella, Collins,
Yes.
Young, Bogdanovich. Like, they could come at you from all different angles.
Right, definitely. And when they're at full strength, when they're healthy, they are an extremely dangerous team. Now, I know they had some struggles starting off this season, but it seems like they're starting to figure that out now. You guys are going to have a really busy this week. You have 5 games this week. Monday tonight, you got the Wizards. Wednesday, you've got the Magic. Friday, you have the Timberwolves. Saturday, you have the Rockets, and then Monday, you have the Bulls. So just a really busy week for you guys.
Yeah, the Wizards game, it just hit halftime. We're up 9, which is a good lead, but I kind of wish it was double digits. But last time I checked, LaMelo was in double figures of scoring, maybe 17 already, which is huge by halftime. The Magic game, I think we'll beat Magic. Magic is a really rebuilding team, even though Cole Anthony is having a really good year.
He is.
The Timberwolves game, I'm actually going to.
Oh, fun.
So that'll be fun. It'll be Anthony Edwards against LaMelo Ball, the Rookie of the Year contenders against each other. That'll be a interesting game. I still think we can pull through. Yeah, Rockets, I don't think the Rockets are a threat to really anyone. They're a rebuilding team as well.
Right.
They still have things to fix. And then we close off with the Bulls, which the Bulls are a really good team. So if I had to guess, we'll I hate saying we'll lose, but Wizards, I'm not super confident. Magic will win. Timberwolves will win. Rockets will win. So we'll probably go 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, like wins against the Timberwolves and the Timberwolves, Magic, and Rockets, and we'll probably lose to the Wizards and Bulls. So 3-2, actually.
3-2. Okay. I actually think you guys will pull out the win on the Wizards. I think that you guys just kind of showed what y'all were made of, not just by beating the Wizards last week, but right before that, you guys had beat Golden State. And so that was beating both number 1 seed teams right there.
Which is huge. Yes.
Right. And while I do think the Wizards are a good team and they're doing well this season, I just don't think they're going to keep that same steam that they're at right now. Like, I feel
I think we have their number.
Yeah, I think so too. And, I just think that they're probably more a 5 or 6 seed team, and you guys are probably closer to a 4 seed.
They're gonna fall this year. They're not gonna stay at number 1 seed because you got Brooklyn, you got Milwaukee,
right,
and you got other good teams. Like I think they could make the playoffs, but they're not a top 3 seed.
I agree. Definitely agree. Well, I hope you have a fabulous Thanksgiving, and I hope you enjoy your game the next day afterwards. That's an exciting game. I put a star by it to make sure that I watch that game with that battle of the former rookies from last season. That should be really good. Let everybody know.
It was televised, but it's not.
Oh, it's not televised? Oh.
Nope.
Okay,
it's on Fox Sports, but I'll definitely be sending videos.
Keep us updated. Yeah.
I will.
Definitely keep us updated. Let everyone know where they can find you and where they can follow you. And we will see you back next week, Will.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Have a good Thanksgiving. You guys can find me here on Monday nights, and then you can find me on the Sip Off, which is taking a week off for Thanksgiving. And then you can find me on the Gauntlet every so often.
All right. Thanks, Will. We'll see you next week.
You.
All right, guys, we have our next rep. We have Cole McCain covering the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, cool. Oh yeah, remind them. Remind them what it is. Reigning champ.
Yes. Yeah. Now the team's back together. Almost the whole
Right.
band's
Yes.
back now. Seeing some upward movement.
Yes, we've seen you guys move to the number 8 seed. So it's still at least sitting in the play-in tournament if the playoffs were to start. Now, obviously, we know you're not going to stay at the 8 seed right there. And the Eagles hat. I see that. Had to stun on us a little bit. Congratulations on y'all's win.
Yeah. A little some on the side there, too, just to remind everybody.
Okay. Well, as the Cowboys fan, I'm just going to be quiet.
Hey, this is 1 week where I can gloat, so I'm gonna enjoy it.
Absolutely. No, relish in your wins, definitely. So going back to the Bucks, though, you guys moved to the 8 seed. You're sitting at 9-8 right now, so you're right above 500. And you had a win against the Lakers on Wednesday. That was 109-102. What were your thoughts on that game?
Giannis dominated. Anthony Davis could not match it, so there was no way for them to win.
Absolutely. And then you guys played OKC on Friday, and that was 96-89. You guys came out victorious. Were you surprised by that game? It was a little bit of a lower scoring game.
I wasn't. That was, I think, Middleton's second game back, so I expected it to, take a little bit more time because he needs a little bit of time to get back into basketball shape. He's good in spurts, but he's still got to get his stamina up and everything. Drew's still not quite himself, but anytime you go through the health and safety protocols, it normally takes you some time to get ready. And after coming off the win against the Lakers, more of an offensive game. I wasn't surprised that it was kind of a letdown on the offense, but they did pick it up defensively. So, they kind of made up for it, in my opinion.
Awesome. And then you guys finished out your week with a win against the Magic on Saturday. That was 117-108. And now I know we did mention earlier, Will mentioned how Cole Anthony is having a pretty good season. Was there anything that you saw out of that game that just kind of stood out?
So, I'll be honest with you. Jalen Suggs had a pretty good game against us. But overall, nobody really did a lot. That was a pretty dominating performance by Milwaukee. He actually pulled the starters at the beginning of the fourth quarter, probably a little bit too early, some of them at the end of the third quarter, and let them get back into the game a little bit. So it really was much more of a blowout than you actually saw. But if anything I'd say stuck out to me is Mo Bamba is huge. He can literally dunk the ball without leaving his feet.
That's insane. Yeah, he is huge.
And he still can't stop Giannis. That's crazy.
No, you know what? Giannis is just something special. And I always enjoyed his personality, but his work ethic is just what shines to me the most. And so currently you guys will be playing the Magic today here in just a little bit. Or I think it just started, actually.
Yeah, it just started. Yep.
What's the score now?
Let me see. So right now, I got to refresh it here.
No problem.
But while I was refreshing, I just want to shout out Bobby Portis for going 5 for 5 for 3 in the game against Orlando. Very impressive stat line.
Right.
Not something where you expect to see it happen every day. But, he went out there, had a really good game, played hard, impressed, showed himself to be a guy that if we don't have some of the other pieces, he should be able to step up and, do his part. So that's, something that's very encouraging. Still looking for it to refresh. It's taking a minute to refresh.
No problem. And then on Wednesday, you guys will. Okay. On Wednesday, you guys will be playing the Pistons, who will be short of Isaiah Stewart because he got a 2-game suspension. And then Friday, you guys will be playing the Nuggets, your other team. And then Sunday, you will be playing the Pacers. Both of those games on the weekend are away games.
Well, just to give you a quick update, it did finally pull up for me. It's 15-6 Milwaukee, with about 5 minutes left in the first half.
Okay.
The first quarter, excuse me. So yeah, just starting, but Milwaukee's already kind of getting that stretch apart. Toughest game, I think, is probably going to actually be the Nuggets game. If we're being honest, Detroit. I don't know what it is. They have the right pieces, but it's just not. It doesn't click right. Or at least at this point, it's just not clicking right. from what I've seen when I watched them play. It's not that anyone's it's just something about, I don't know if it's maybe the lineups that they're using, something, but something's just not quite right.
Dom says that Cade is not playing at the right position because they have Killian Hayes. And as we all know, we knew it was going to be interesting there because they have so many guards. And so that was just what were they going to do with that? And in San Antonio, that's pretty relatable because whenever we drafted Primo, that was my thought too. I said, well, we got a ton of guards already. Why are we getting another guard? So they're just going to have to figure out where they work together as far as that goes, in my opinion.
Yeah, that may be what the issue is. I think the Nuggets, because if Jokic is there, he's a guy that does so many other things. I don't think that's a team that's worried about stopping Giannis, but maybe focusing on slowing down some of the other guys.
Right.
The Nuggets, the main thing with them is no consistency in the lineups. You have a starting lineup, but you have different guys. They have a really good game. They don't play for 2 or 3 games, and they play again. It's just not consistent. You need all the guys that can get you buckets right now. With Michael Porter Jr. out for we don't know how long, but his back injury, he has a nerve injury in his back, so that's going to be a problem for him long term. So he's not coming back anytime soon, and being able, to help out. We still don't really know a timetable for Jamal Murray. Best case scenario, sometime after the All-Star break. We're asking Aaron Gordon to do something that he doesn't do as well, and it's be a big time scorer. So you need those guys on the bench that may not understand all of the concepts, but they could put the ball in the bucket. They can run hard on defense, and Najee has had to play. So Najee's the backup center. He doesn't have a lot of offensive capability, but you need the size and the defense and him clogging up the hole and running the floor. So you have to be just better at that. And I think they're going to do that because they're not going to have a choice against Milwaukee, right? You're going to have Bobby Portis and Giannis there. You're going to have to put a big body out there. So I think that's going to be the most difficult of the games that we have next week. But I honestly can see them going 4-0 next week and moving further up the rankings just because I think Milwaukee's starting to hit their stride. And we know when Milwaukee hits their stride that they're going to make things happen.
Absolutely. And have we seen the return of Brook Lopez yet?
We haven't seen the return of Brook Lopez. We don't know the time frame with him. It's a back injury as well, some soreness in his back. So we don't know, always, if you never really know, it could be something that's another game or two. It could be a few more weeks, but he's the only piece right now that's missing. And you're starting to see some of the other guys gel and kind of get back to last season form a little bit. So we'll see. Some other guys have gotten better. Teams like Chicago, the Nets are playing better with 2 of their big 3, which I think they're honestly better that way. Chicago, I said Atlanta is a pretty dangerous team. So there's a lot of teams out east, but just to let you know, are back.
And have we seen DiVincenzo come back?
Actually, we haven't seen him come back. Sometimes I forget about him because he wasn't there for the run.
Because it's been a while.
Seen him yet. Yeah, it's been a while for him. But yeah, he isn't back either. I'll have to check up on him this week to see what his status on how close he is to getting back. But yeah, a lot of the pieces that they had last year are back. But DiVincenzo would provide, some depth on the wing. And Pat Connaughton's been playing really well too. He's had some games where he's made a lot of threes and helped out as well. So it's been contributions, definitely.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see DiVincenzo come back. He's an electric shooter, great 3-point shooter. So can't wait to see him come back. And before we go, I just want to give you a birthday shout out. Happy birthday. Hope you had a fabulous day. And good luck on your games this week. I do agree. I think 4-0 would probably be pretty easy for you guys. Even with Joker there, I still see y'all probably coming out on top. Just the amount of depth that you guys have now that people are coming off of injuries. Let everyone know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we will see you back next week. Also, happy Thanksgiving. Happy
Thanksgiving to you as well, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. You can find me on the Sip Off, not this week though, hiatus because of Thanksgiving. Still be on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, playcallsportstalk.com. Of course, you can follow me on all my social media, cool_McCain on Instagram. Everything else is Cool McCain. See y'all next week. Let's go.
Thanks, Cool. All right, guys, we have our next in the lineup. We have Chris, Couch Coach Powell, covering the Clippers.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome. So you guys had an interesting week. You had a win against the Spurs. Not too surprising. Right now, you're sitting at 10-7. You're in the 4th seed. That game against the Spurs was on Monday. And then you guys lost to Memphis on Thursday, 120-108. And then lost to New Orleans on Friday, 94-81. And then you had a big win on Sunday against the Mavs, 97-91. Where do you want to start? Because we knew y'all were going to beat the Spurs. There's not a whole lot of reason to even talk about it. So let's.
Yeah. Hey, but I think going down south was kind of an interesting, like the back-to-back with Memphis and New Orleans was very interesting. I definitely think they were going to drop the egg on both of those, but they did. I figured Memphis, but definitely not New Orleans. The way they've been playing this year, they've been struggling, and Valanciunas came alive for the Pelicans. He ended up having 26 on us, and it was just that game was really bad. You think about it, we shot 37% from the field and 24% from the 3, and it was just just one of those, like, it's just a night that you don't come up flat. You gotta throw the film away and just and rebound and come on back home, and that's what we did.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are still sitting in 4th, so there's going to be everybody's going to have certain weird losses like that. Unfortunately, you guys were only able to put up 81 points that game. So, and you just feel like that was the dominant presence of Valanciunas, or was there something else there in New Orleans that you think attributed to that?
I think the shooting woes, obviously, and I think really the back-to-back too. I think one of those things I think the back-to-back kind of being, the second wing of that back-to-back probably was just one of those where it's just one of those games that you just throw out the shelf and be like, hey, we'll, get back.
Done deal, time to move forward. Right.
Yeah.
And so then on Sunday, yesterday, you guys came out victorious against the Mavs, 97-91. Break that game down for me real quick.
Another great win. Definitely to start this 6-game homestand. You just look at the fact PG came out to play once again, 29. Always another solid contributor. And Reggie balled out. I think he had 23 in that game. Then you also had some nice contributions off the bench. Luke Kennard once again 9 off the bench. Terrence Mann had 7, and then you had Serge. Serge kind of getting back into his rhythm. I think now he's kind of getting himself. He's not obviously I don't think he's 100%, but he's getting there, and I think he's gonna just get his footing back. It's good to kind of see him kind of get some time and getting himself together. I think he could put in 6 points in that game. We shot pretty well. We shot 41% from the 3, so that's really encouraging. It was interesting. Nicholas Batum was a late scratch per se. He was out due to health and safety protocols. So still, that's a developing story. As far as when I hit health and safety protocols, I think of other things, but until it's confirmed,
right,
there, right. But it's another solid win. That's one thing with this Clippers team when they're on. You still get that same production, from PG night in, night out. He's another guy averaging 26 a game. And then you just get solid contributions off the bench. You look at even in the losses, I was really encouraged of Hardestein, what he's been doing as of late, kind of in the loss, even in Memphis and in New Orleans, he had put up 11 against both of those two teams. So you just get that production from off the bench. Somebody's going to step up, of that combination. But yeah, it was good win, definitely, especially after that 2-game losing streak. Because a lot of it, because it's almost like you're feeling like the beginning of the season, how they started rough and then they had a win streak, and then now it's like, oh my goodness, we lost to Memphis, and then we went to New Orleans to lay the egg. Like, oh boy, this started to become like, it kind of reminds you of like late October Clippers. But now they kind of getting back. And hopefully with this homestand, hopefully they can take care of business and get some wins, some quality wins.
And so you guys are going to play the Mavs again on Tuesday. That's going to be the late game, 10:30 Eastern. Then Friday, you have an afternoon game, 3:30 Eastern against the Pistons. Sunday, another afternoon game, 3:30 against Golden State, and then Monday, 10:30 Eastern against the Pelicans. So thoughts on your schedule this week?
It's going to be an interesting schedule. Definitely Dallas. I want to see playing them pretty much in essence a back-to-back situation, a home and well, not a home and home, but a home and home in essential. That's going to be an interesting game. The Detroit one is going to be really interesting because I think at this time Isaiah Stewart will be back.
Right.
I think
and he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder. Luckily, y'all are the other LA team at the moment.
Correct. So yeah, we'll keep our elbows and our hands to ourselves, hopefully, when we box out. But that I think the biggest, the intriguing one has got to be the Golden State game. You look at those type of games, even though it's early, but you look at those games, it's like barometer games. See where you're at this point in the season. You look at when you have a Golden State team and they, you got them at home. You really want to see what they do. And I think that's really going to be the key game. And then also the Pelicans. And because you got a lot of games on this schedule where you look like, okay, we can win these games. But we know how it is in basketball. You can have a cold night, obviously, and you can have a bad night, have a night like in New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Even in the homestand. So each game is important, but I think theoretically – you're looking forward to the Golden State game. You want to see,
Absolutely.
You want to see what you can do at this point and just see how this team is progressing thus far.
Completely agree. I do think the Mavs games, are we going to see Luka for that game? Do we know?
I don't know, not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but that'd be interesting,
And they're still now they may not have won those games that they played without him, but they were still close games. So they're still being competitive without Luka. So, I think that's not necessarily a good thing. Glad to get it out of the way early on in the season for them. But to see them play the Suns, they played the Suns pretty well. But in both of those games, they still just need that extra push from Luka. But to see them still be competitive, I know that they have the ability to be a tough game for you guys. Pistons, I think, is probably a pretty easy game for y'all. They're still just kind of trying to find their way. They do have some good pieces, but they're still trying to figure out how to work those pieces together. Golden State, obviously. I'm going to say Golden State. I'm going to say they're going to win this one, but I'm interested to see what you guys do with it. Is Paul George going to have a standout game? Is Reggie Jackson going to have a standout game? So just kind of interested in seeing how y'all are going to face that adversity playing a team that is that good. And you guys are still maintaining. You're still in the 4th seed, so y'all are still a really good team too. Pelicans, it's just interesting because you lost Friday, so it's just a weird matchup right there. So I'm gonna say I think y'all probably go 3-1.
Okay, yeah, and I'm thinking that as well too. I think, and the funny thing with Dallas is now they're like a playoff foe. When you sit down and think about it, and then the crazy thing about it is if the season ended today, we would play them in the first round. It's so crazy, like how now Dallas is starting to become almost like a rival. In essence, especially last 2 years.
Well, definitely in the playoffs. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's starting to become a little bit of it got a little legs with it as far as it could be a potential rivalry down the road. Yeah.
Real quick, Tyler said he needs some Couch Coach merch, so hit him up.
I got you, Tyler. I got you.
Okay, awesome. Well, Chris, good luck on your games this week. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you, and we will see you back next week.
All right, absolutely. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. Also the podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. And happy Thanksgiving, Megan, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone as well. All right.
Thanks, Chris. We'll see you next week.
All right, take care.
All right, guys. Our next rep is going to be Jen Lewis covering the Boston Celtics. Oh, you're muted, Jen. All right, there we go.
And how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good now that I'm learning technology.
Right. It teaches you so much learning how to produce the shows as well.
Right.
So your team has been picking it up a little bit. You guys are You're sitting at the 9 seed right now. You're above 500. You're at 9-8. You had a win against Cleveland last week, 98-92. Then you had a loss to ATL, 110-99 on Wednesday. And then Friday, the big game, we saw you guys play the Lakers. We saw the return of LeBron, and you guys just dominated completely and totally.
No, we totally did. There was literally only one area that we tied in, and that was total turnovers.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
12 each. That's it. We killed them. Everything else. Like, we were on fire. We've been on fire. Bye, LeBron.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And then even by like the last 5 minutes, you guys were sitting your starters, and we got to see a little bit out of the bench over there. Jason Tatum ended up having 37 points, 2 assists, and 11 rebounds. So he had a massive game.
And then, huge win.
You're right. Absolutely. And we've been waiting to see that because we know that he's capable of that. Like, we've seen him have the 50-point games. We've seen him have the 60-point games. Like, we know what his shooting abilities are like. And it's worth noting that you guys blew out the Lakers and y'all didn't have Jalen.
Yeah, I know. He's supposed to be coming back. He's playing tonight.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But he's limited in minutes tonight to 24 or less.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, it's early. You still want to keep you guys healthy. So minute restriction is understandable. You guys played OKC Saturday, and you were able to come out on top on that one. It was 111-105. And then, like you said today, you guys are playing the Rockets. Wednesday, you will be playing Brooklyn. Friday, you will be playing the Spurs in San Antonio. And then Sunday, you will be playing the Raptors in Toronto.
Yes. So we have quite the little road trip ahead of us, but I think we'll be fine. I think you and I will be both watching on Friday evening.
Yes, ma'am. So, I mean, I still imagine you guys are going to be victorious. We're struggling, and you guys are kind of starting to find y'all's rhythm, So
yeah,
you started to move back up. I still think it's going to be tough for you guys to make the playoffs this year, not because of just the struggle. Not just because of the struggles you guys are having, but because of how good the East is. If you go back and you look at the standings, actually the East has more teams above 500 than the West does, and just those records that they have. So that's something very weird off. It doesn't normally happen. So this is a different season, obviously, for the East. And you guys are still trying to find your rhythm with your new coach, but I do like y'all's coach. Like, I like that.
I do too. He's injecting so much passion back into the team, and he's coaching. He's not just telling them what to do, because the coach is more than just telling people what to do. You and I know that, but he's actually being a legit coach, which I appreciate.
So out of these 4 games, what do you think is going to be your toughest game? And then what do you think is a possible trap game
that are coming up? I don't know why. I feel like we kind of play to our opponents. So I'm looking at the schedule again, and I'm like really navigating between 3 monitors right now.
No problem.
Honestly, like the one that and I'm not just saying this, is I do really give pause to you guys. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I know Toronto's good and all of that, but Toronto is like we are. We play kind of to who we're playing against.
Right.
So, and that's what we don't really set the pace. There's not a lot of teams. That's what Atlanta's doing. That's what Charlotte's been doing. Boston's been doing that, but I fear that we're still a little susceptible, even though does that make sense? So honestly, for me, I feel like Friday night's game is very important, and that we have to set the pace.
Right.
Because we knew, like, going into LA, we're going up against LeBron. We knew that. We know who we're going up against in Oklahoma. And honestly, like, we played stronger against against LA than we did Oklahoma.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause. is you guys, because you guys know how to bring it to action too.
We need a win really bad. All these close losses, and I do agree. Like we had Lonnie Walker who said that they're lessons, not just losses. And I know we learned from all of those, and they're not. We haven't had a ton of blowouts, so we are being competitive. Our biggest problem is finishing out a game, that fourth quarter. So I do anticipate us being probably a tough defensive team. Now, we're not the best defensive team out there, but we do play defense more than the defense than we played last year.
Exactly. And then, like, honestly, I don't know why the 76ers don't concern me. That's not meant to be disrespectful. I don't know why. I may be totally off base, but they don't.
Well, and Beeb's not playing at the moment, so there's that. And then there's all the drama, the locker room drama over there is definitely a problem. So I can understand why you're like, not too worried about it.
Right. And plus it's like, I'm sorry, but it's Pop. You got to give credit to Pop, like whoever you are. It's kind of like in college basketball, you still give credit to Dean Smith. Rest in peace. So you do.
Right. Absolutely.
Just what you do.
Well, all right, Jen, let everyone know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and good luck on your games this week.
Thanks. You guys can find me here on Monday nights, NFL Carousel on Thursday nights. I'm also sometimes on Brian Snow's show on occasion, and a couple of other podcasts here, there, and yonder, and I'm working on some stuff of my own, and I'll keep you guys updated.
Awesome. We got to get you on this the sip-up whenever you have time.
Yeah, just let me know. I really hang out at home and watch TV. Okay. That's my life.
I would love some estrogen on the show. That would be great.
Girl, I got you. I got plenty of it.
Okay. Well, we will see you next week, Jen. Enjoy your holiday.
Thanks, you too.
We'll see you next week. All right, guys. Next up, we have Jay Nelson covering the Houston Rockets.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing, Jay?
Pretty good. Just keeping up with the game going on right now.
Okay, so you guys who are y'all playing right now?
Right now we're playing the Celtics. And last I saw, they were up 52-47 at the halftime. Got to find a way to slow Tatum down. He's got 22 on us. So.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough right there. And he's kind of just getting into his rhythm, as we know that he can have those 40+ games really easy. So, and Jaylen Brown is coming back tonight, so I know that's going to be tough for you guys. Let's see. To start the week off last week, you guys lost to Memphis 136-102 on Monday, and then you lost to OKC 101-89, and then you lost to the Knicks, which was actually a pretty close game, 106-99. Let's talk about the Knicks game, since that was so close.
The Knicks game, we did hang with them all the way through. Again, it's about finishing. Wood did have a double-double, so he had 18 and 12, which is really nice coming from that way. The more I'm seeing the big man shine, is the more I'm saying this is what we needed, and this and how to get back to the solid basketball that we traditionally are, versus just, stop and fire all the time. Gordon had 15, Green had 6. I mean, the numbers are not bad coming from the Rockets end. I mean, even Kmart, JR, and Augustine had 10 off the bench, So it's just it may be just enough defense, but also the more I'm looking at these games is the more, this is the obvious answer, is just the inexperience, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's the inexperience. They're beating up on a really, really, really young team right now.
Right. Yeah. And you guys are obviously you and the Pistons are the youngest team in the league at the moment. Let's see. Brooks has 11 points currently. Gordon has 9 points, and then Thies has 7. So it's still pretty early. It's halftime. I expect you guys to probably be able to keep up with the Celtics, but I do think that the Celtics will probably come out victorious. For the rest of your week, you have the Bulls on Wednesday, and that's just tough. They're hot right now. Yeah. They're on a hot streak right now. Like the Levine and DeMar are actually the most scoringest duo in the league at the moment. So that's tough. Then you have the Hornets on Saturday. and then OKC this upcoming Monday. So let's talk about that loss that you guys had against OKC, since this was something that was pretty close. Now you're going to have to play them again pretty soon. So it was 101-89. What were your thoughts on that game?
That was the one that OKC was to get back. We beat them opening week. Then we went to their house and they beat us. And now they got to come back here. But, you made mention of Houston and Detroit. OKC is really, really young too, So it's just it's the battle of the junior ballers out there, pretty much. You know what I mean? Neither team really has that one solid veteran.
I'm in that league too, so
yeah, I can relate. Yeah, nobody has that really like solid veteran and whatnot. But something, that's the beauty about Houston this year is Steven Silas can take what he has from this year and he can find a way to try to find someone in free agency and fit them in. You know what I mean? Right. No, I'm not talking about like a super guy that's had like 8 knee injuries. Like, no, we need like someone, we need somebody on a level of when DeRozan came to y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was relatively injury free and everything. I know you have kind of your feelings about when he was there. I still stand by that the man was solid, No,
I do too. I really now the first season that he was there, he went through some scoring struggles. But the last 2 seasons that he played for us, I really felt like he left it all on the court. He still tried his best for us and took it as a learning experience to learn from Pop. And what else can you ask for somebody that wasn't asking to be traded, So I think he gave what he could. I mean, I'm wearing his shirt right now because he's playing so good with the Bulls that I just kind of wanted to shout him out.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to think of that person, that bad breakup. When it's fresh, it's going to affect everything in your life, because he really, really, really didn't want to leave Toronto. You know what I mean? And it was the way that they did it too, because they told him like a month before, we're not going to trade you. Then they turned right around and traded him. So,
but also you have to understand the business point side of that, because they immediately won a championship with Kawhi. And I don't know if there was a single team or a single player that necessarily would have been safe from a Kawhi trade other than maybe LeBron, because everybody else, every other team would have thought about it.
Absolutely, because remember, Kawhi Leonard was supposed to be the heir apparent to Tim Duncan. So not only did the Spurs see that, everyone else saw it as well.
Right, absolutely.
And then if you really sit back and think about it, Kawhi is overall more talented than Timmy. The man can shoot. The man can, you know what I mean? Yeah, he overall as a basketball player was more talented than him. So of course, just like you said, outside of LeBron, everybody could be touched.
Yeah, because at that time, KD was injured. So, like, at the time, Kawhi was, like, number 2 in the league. So, it was sad how DeMar ended up having to come to San Antonio and how it worked out. I'm glad that he was able to let it go and play for us. And then now he's actually playing somewhere where he's looking like a contender. So, and then I think that's what both of our teams are lacking right there. Like, we have no superstars. We got a couple big names, and up and coming names, but we have no superstar. And so that's going to be a problem. And then with this OKC matchup, y'all actually double back and play them again right after that on Monday. So you have Monday and then Wednesday. Yes. So I actually think you guys are going to come out with a win on one of those. Like, in back-to-backs, it's so hard for them to sweep, and then you just played them as well. So, I one of those you guys are going to be able to come out with a W.
I most certainly hope that we do, and it's just like they say how the NFL is a quarterback-driven league. We all know the NBA is a superstar-driven league, Absolutely. And so if we could do what the Bulls are doing, because they don't have a mega star, but look at them.
Right. Yeah. True.
Yeah, they don't have like a mega star or anything like that, but they're winning with Levine. They got DeRozan over there, who's that solid veteran that I mentioned. So if we can get a free agency like next year, or even by the trade deadline, and pick up somebody, then maybe that'll be something that can put us over the top and into the playoffs.
Maybe and that's something that
this season, but yeah.
And that's something that a lot of us figure out is that. Or that we forget about is that, you guys have that that trading piece. Like you have John Wall, so you will get something in return for that somewhere down the line.
True.
You just don't have it at the moment. But good luck on your games this week, Jay. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we will see you back next week.
All right. Well, you can find me here on Monday nights with the NBA Carousel, hosted by Megan Price and produced by JB Ellis. You can also find me as the co-host of the Gauntlet podcast, the Sports Gauntlet, with myself, James Tatum, Dom DeRobay, and also Tyler Ingram. Also, you can find me on the Sip Off. It's Turkey Day. Day in the show this week, is there?
No, there's not.
Okay. So they taking off, y'all. So eat your turkey. But it's on Thursdays.
Yes.
It's on Thursdays at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Find me on Roku. I'm covering the Houston Heat Women's National Football Conference football team. It'd be myself and also Houston Heat All-Pro defensive lineman. Shout out to Lacey O'Neal. Megan's got that's coming up this week, isn't it?
Wednesday morning.
Okay. Awesome. All right, and shout out Craig Davis, Marshall, Unconventional Kings fam. I'll see y'all next week.
All right, thanks, Jay. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Our next rep, we have Detroit Dom covering the Pistons. Oh.
Bad boys.
A mess. Okay, so first we're going to talk about your week, and then we will talk about last night. So let's talk about your games this past week. Hold on 1 second.
Kings.
Yes. Hold on, I had you guys pulled up 1 second. So you guys are sitting in 14th right now. And this past week you played the Sacramento Kings. The Kings won 129-107. Then you played the Pacers on Wednesday, and you guys came out with a win, 97-89. And then you guys played the Warriors, and it was a really close game. They didn't have Steph, though, but it was 105-102, a great shooting night for you guys, actually. And then the Lakers drama. But let's talk about the Pacers game, the win that you guys were able to pull out.
It was a balanced effort. The bench was very good. Our bench is actually pretty legit. I think they're starting to figure out those rotations. We've got, it's funny, we've got too many starting point guards and not really enough. We don't have a good bench point guard, and they're not going to put Killian Hayes on the bench because you can't bench a guy that was a first round pick, but they'll figure it out. But it's the same thing it's been all year so far. We live and die by the jump shot. Like the reason we lost that game to the Kings was they forced Jeremy Grant to be a jump shooter, and he's not he's streaky, but he's not a great jump shooter.
Right. And so in that game, like you said, it was a group effort, pretty similar points wise as far as your known shooters. Jeremy Grant had 19, Bay had 15, Cunningham had 16, and then Joseph had 18. So kind of what you would expect, but Hayes was kind of short on the points in that game. He had 4, 4, and 4 across the board. What are your thoughts on him being at the one?
He's streaky, and it's funny when they do, on the rare occasions that they do let Cade run the point, obviously no one respects Killian Hayes' jump shot, rightfully so, but he tends to make open shots, but they don't play him at the off guard often enough.
And so would you rather see Cade at the one, or would you rather see Killian at the one?
It's hard to say. Cade Cunningham, he's so good. He's going to flourish either way. He's going to find his role. He literally, like every single game I see him play, he's pretty much better than the game before.
Awesome.
He's shooting like 25% from 3 this year, like on about 8 attempts, so like 2 of 8. So until he finds that NBA range, I would rather see him go to the hole or be a distributor. But like I said, when you're the off guard, you don't get that many opportunities. But
And we've seen a couple other teams that had to make some changes as far as their point guard and their shooting guard. Like we saw, Brooklyn actually worked better with James Harden at the 1 than Kyrie at the 2. And to me, I felt like they looked like they worked better that way. And even in fact, in San Antonio, we had Manu Ginobili, who was excellent, but he was better coming off the bench for us. So, it just has to be decide what works best for you guys, and if that person is willing to come off the bench, if that's a possibility, or if that person is willing to move over to the 2 instead of the 1.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder how long the leash is for Dwayne Casey, because as good of a coach as he is, if we experience another season with the roughly the same win percentage as last year, I think that that's a pick. Sorry.
No problem. All right. So I guess we'll slide over to what happened last night. Now, I know that Stewart is probably your favorite player on the team, right?
One of my favorites. He's a bad boy.
One of your favorites. Okay.
And he proved it.
He did prove it. Absolutely. He proved it. So what were your opinions on what happened in the game? And then, so they came out with a win on that game, but I kind of liked what Skip had to say about it, and I rarely agree with Skip Bayless, but saying that the Lakers rallied back after this ejection from LeBron and then the injury of Isaiah, and just rallying back against a team that, what y'all's record 4 at the time?
They did. We were up 15 points going into the fourth quarter, and I think that was kind of the breaking point somehow, some way. And the funny thing is, if you go back and watch the replays, you can hear our PA announcer saying multiple times during that fracas, like, fans, please stay in your seats, because I guarantee that was a hella flashback to Malice at the Palace.
Right, and which it was not anything like that, really. But I will say, the amount of trauma to his eye, that if I was bleeding that much, I don't know how exactly I would react to that, or what my anger level would be like. I don't know. I don't know.
Cool with it at first. When I turned the game on, it was literally in the middle of that scrum.
Okay.
It must have been a minute or so before, and I didn't even see until literally an hour after the game was over. We all thought it was like an inadvertent elbow or a forearm. It was that was fist to eye socket, and it was cool at first. I thought
it was his elbow, but it looked really hard. I know that it was.
And it wasn't accident, and it wasn't inadvertent.
Okay.
The thing was, he went down and he got up, and the bench is cleared, and then all of a sudden his eye just starts pouring blood. And I think he caught his lip too, because he had blood in his mouth. And I mean, that's what happens. You made me bleed my own blood. He didn't flip out until he either saw blood on his jersey or tasted it in his mouth, and then he absolutely lost it.
Yeah, he definitely did. So we saw the league handout suspensions just a little bit ago. LeBron gets 1, Isaiah gets 2. Thoughts on that?
I'm almost speechless. I had 1,000 things to say. I can't wrap my head around it. The guy that throws the punch gets 1 game. The guy that only wants to return the punch and never gets the opportunity to gets 2. Not to mention, I don't pay that close of attention to fines and amounts, but $950,000. Isaiah Stewart, he was a first-round pick, so he probably makes $4 or $5 million a year. That's 15 or so game, $950,000. That sounds like a lot. What it sounds like is a message from $950,000.
Holy crap! I didn't know that.
And mostly for just running over his own training staff. But obviously, it's a message from the league, hey, don't touch our golden boy.
Yeah, well, that, and there will be no Malice at the Palace repeat. And I think, No,
you're right. Malice at the Staples Center. Hope and pray. I got $100 to anyone watching that says LeBron takes load management for that game.
No, I agree. I don't think LeBron will play that day. So you guys will be playing Miami tomorrow, Milwaukee on Wednesday.
Another tough slate of games this week.
Right.
Very tough.
Tough. Clippers on Friday, and then you will see the Lakers again on Sunday. Do you think you're going to be able to pull out a win this week?
I'm going to say 2 of those 4. Maybe a sweep in LA.
Okay. Because I do think the Lakers is a winnable game for you guys just because of how much you were ahead.
I said that last week, remember?
Right.
We had them.
Y'all had the Lakers figured out last season, so I remember that as well. And the Clippers look off. I know they're sitting at the 4 seed right now, but they do look a little off. No Kawhi. They're still kind of trying to figure out who they are without Kawhi. So could be winnable games.
That Clippers game is Friday or Saturday? I think it's Friday.
Friday,
right?
and it's an early game. It's at
okay, so it's not back-to-back at least.
No.
That's just rough. So we're going Miami, Milwaukee, LA.
Yes. Well, Miami is a home game for you guys.
Oh, right.
Home game. All right. Well, good luck on your games this week. Thank you for your commentary on the brawl last night, or whatever you want to call it, a scrum. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we will see you back next week.
Thanks. Mondays here on the Carousel, hosted by you. Tuesdays, Sports Gauntlet, James Tatum, myself, Jay Nelson, Tyler Ingram. Thursdays, Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, 7 p.m. Occasional guest on your sip-off, 8:15 p.m.-ish. Fridays, We're Lions Nation podcast. And that's it. Go Pistons. Happy Thanksgiving. And sorry about having to watch the Lions on Thursday.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get to our last representative. We have Jacob Krisner covering the Sacramento Kings.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Tell me something. Is that your July Christmas tree or your September Christmas tree? I'm just trying to figure this out.
Right. Everyone's been giving me a hard time about it. I actually have a best friend who put up her tree at the end of September. She did a Halloween tree, she did a Thanksgiving tree, and then now she put the Christmas decorations on. So y'all could have seen the tree much earlier.
Just to say to Detroit, Dom, the Bears have Matt Nagy. You're going to win your first game. Until Matt Nagy's gone, the Bears aren't winning another dang game. It is pure and simple. The guy's pathetic.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot positive to say about him. So you guys are sitting at the 12 seed right above us, and you're 6-11. And we had some interesting news yesterday. I mean, I say interesting. Pretty much everybody that I saw comment said that it should have been happened already. So you guys ended up firing your head coach, Luke Walton, and you have Avery Gentry to replace him.
Oh, Alvin Gentry? Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If it's a 1-year deal for the rest of the year, cool. But you can't get more boring than a 67-year-old coach has been doing 17 years. That's done 17 years as the coach. You can't get, especially when you got Ime Udoka over in Boston, and you've got all these young, hip coaches with some of these ideas, and you get Alvin Gentry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's like to finish the year and you're coming for something else, otherwise, no. But it's like the thing about it is the fact that if he's going to do something, it's like the biggest thing about Sacramento at this point in time, they don't have a 20-point scorer at all. The leading score is 19.9 a game.
Okay.
They don't have a 10 rebounds guy. It's like 9.5. They don't have a 6 assist guy. When we were talking that last time, we talked about they're spreading the ball, which they were, but there's no real consistency on Sacramento at all. No real consistency. 8 different guys have already started a game this year already. 8 different guys, 8 different players have already started the thing. Only 3 have started all 17 games that are on so far this year. There's no real consistency, nothing on the court. I see why he went, but why Luke Walton had to go. They were 5-4, then it became 6-11. But what do you do? What can you really do? You could maybe if it's a year and then go after something else, but I'm not thrilled with Alvin Gentry.
Yeah, when I saw that was who was going to be replacing Luke, I was definitely concerned. I was critical of him in New Orleans. And I didn't know that he really had a grip on the way the game has changed. And so that's still going to be a huge problem over in Sacramento. But as you were talking about the starters, like you've had 8 different starters so far. Do you feel like this was a coaching issue? Do you feel like this is because of the players, or do you think it's a mix of both?
Let me explain this. I'm going to be completely and utterly honest. I'm going to be honest with this. It's like I'm going based off of the fantasy football. I went through a tough stretch on a fantasy football because went through some buys and injuries at the same time, had to scramble like crazy, only won a couple, everything like that. This happens with some coaching. I'm not going to say it makes anybody bad or good or anything like that. If you hit injuries, you hit certain situations, you're trying to make things work and your job is on the line, you scramble. And it's like, well, I'm not going to, I use this as a joke as far as fantasy football. I use this kind of a joke and everything like that. They do the same thing. I did the same thing this year. And, and stuff like that. You do it, you scramble. And Luke probably scrambled, and I can see Alvin Gentry having to scramble, especially in this new era. Having to find players. The main thing is they just really need to go get some kind of impact player. They just don't have it.
Agree. And can relate because I have the same problem kind of going on in San Antonio. We just need that one person that's going to come in and make a difference because we have some supporting cast. We have some surrounding players that are good, but we don't have anybody that just really stands out a ton at the moment, like that veteran leadership.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, Megan, at least you got Pop. At least you got Pop. At least you've got assistant coaches. You got Becky Hammond. You've got all this. Steven Silas over in Houston, they were brought up a couple seconds ago. Steven Silas in Houston. I mean, this is a dumpster fire. That's a dumpster fire. And the thing is, you're not in a dumpster fire. You're really him winning the whole, the Pop winning everything else to give it over to Becky Hammond or Tim Duncan or whoever he wants to. You've got choices out of choices out of choices. You got a young team. You got everything. That's a dumpster fire in Houston. And
we got to ride out this season as far as San Antonio. Like I don't think we're going to see the improvements that to be the winning team that I want us to be. Not until next season, probably.
Oh yeah, but you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But just was bringing him up and stuff like that. Just imagine doing that. You're not in bad shape. The thing is, Sacramento's in bad shape. Houston's a dumpster fire.
Right.
And in my own personal thing, I think if Steven Silas continues the losing thing, I don't care if he's a first-year coach or not, they will dump him. It's like even you don't want to go like 6-76. That's in any part of the situation. That's a record deal. The record's 9-73. He's heading there, and it's it's like he's trying to figure things out. There's a whole kind of scramble there in Sacramento. I see them now with another 25-win year. I just do.
Oh, that's rough. That's something that you guys have been doing for a while. So this week coming up, tonight you guys are playing the Sixers. Wednesday you play Portland. Friday you play the Lakers. Sunday you play Memphis. And then I wanted to bring up Tuesday, you double back and play the Lakers again.
Well, here's the thing. The Lakers, everybody's saying, Lakers are a winnable game. They got to, okay. First off, let's bring up thing with Detroit Dom on this whole deal. Let's bring this whole deal. What they should have just let Isaiah Stewart go because I want to see LeBron run back to the locker room because he is not a fighter. LeBron cannot fight. He is not.
They're not going to do that in Detroit. Like they're not going to just let him go.
No, it's not his. I just want to see him go back to the locker room and get laughed at stage because he is not a fighter. He was hiding behind everybody. He's not a fighter. He is the wimpiest man with muscles that ever lived, and I would rather that. But here's the thing. That aside, the Lakers are getting tougher. They're going to get tougher. They can't make that comeback. They've got too much talent. They're going to get hotter. So I could see 2 losses by Sacramento on that one. Okay. Now, the Sixers, it's like I made a prediction through the year that they could win it all, and I'm not going to give up because I don't give up my predictions. But the thing is, they got to have Embiid back. They got to get deal. It's like right now, I think they beat Sacramento and they go 10-8. But what do you get on that? Portland is, the thing is, I see Sacramento maybe winning one of those games. Just It could even be tonight, just because you're trying to get Alvin Gentry, but he's got a tough road. He has got to get a solid, the absolutely solid starting lineup. He's got to get the bench rotation is a mess. He's got to figure out who's really, because there's only 6 players that played all 17 games, including bench. He has it's like, and even if you're playing load management, that's still terrible. You really need some you really need something solid. You just need to have something figured out. That is the first step. And he is an old school coach, so he can get that figured out. But really, it's a shooting league now. How's he going to figure? And he's nearly 70 years old. Is he going to try to play old school, or is he going to stick with the young? It's just a tough thing. But I hope. Let's see. If you keep Alvin Gentry next year, that's a bigger mistake than Kyle Kuzma's sweater.
Well, maybe he'll figure it out. Pop had to change how he coached some, and we saw that change in the bubble. And then, what we did for the rest of the season, and then going to the bubble, like we saw it was more of a 5-guard system, and it was faster paced, and LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't there, and we just started moving faster. So, and Pop had to evolve with it.
Well, you want to know who I remember with the what I would call my own version of what I saw in the 5-guard system way back when was like the Dream Team. I'm not calling it hard, but if you have Bird, Jordan, you have Stockton on the floor, this is way back when. You get that, and you have Magic. That's 4 people that pass the ball, and that's 4 people that have played the point at one time. And Bird played. Bird did it too a little bit here and there. He was point forward, but he ran the ball up the floor. That's 4 guys.
Right. Yeah.
In all truth, Sacramento would be good to have a some system like that, because a speedier system just gives some flow. Because really, this shooting thing's not working.
Right.
They're not scoring. They scored that 140 probably 10 days ago, but then they haven't scored much since. It's like the shooting is live and die, and really they need to be able to get in.
Absolutely agree. Well, good luck on your games this week. I definitely think Portland or the Sixers is a winnable game for you guys. Portland is having a weird year. Dame is back, though. We saw he was out some of last week and the week before that. So Dame is back. But those are the real winnable games right there, in my opinion. Memphis, maybe. And I still think I agree with you. The Lakers will get better with some time. So good luck on those games. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you. And we will see you back next week.
Well, I'm here at the Carousel. I'm on most Tuesdays with Snowman in the Morning, Brian Snow. I am not on the Sip Off, maybe one day.
Absolutely.
It's like, and I am that, and then I have my Pundit's Pundit, which I'm going to be building, as I said, just because of certain things and busyness. I haven't been able to, but I'm getting a second show really soon, and I'm starting to get some interviews lined up. So, and I've also got Ricochet and Substack. I got my own writing, so I'm around.
Absolutely.
And I'm also on. I'm sorry about this. I'm also on Facebook, Jacob Krisner, and then the Pundits Pund 1 for Pundits Pund 1 for Twitter, and for Twitter, and I'm on basically everywhere else. I'm on YouTube, the Pundits Pundit.
Okay. Thanks so much, Jacob. We'll see you next week.
You betcha.
Awesome. All right, guys, a friendly reminder that the NBA Carousel is a Sideline Sports Network production, proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download on Apple and Google Play Store. There's a demo on how to use the app on Sideline Sports YouTube channel. Thanks, you guys, for watching. Hope you have a fabulous holiday.